Welcome to the Realizations Podcast. I'm Andrea Gordon, your host, and I'm excited to explore the world of real estate with you. In a world where perceptions often overshadow reality, Realizations seeks to redefine what it means to be a realtor. Join me as we peel back the layers of the industry, uncovering inspiring stories and celebrating the good in real estate. Whether you're a homeowner, a fellow realtor, or simply curious, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Realizations, where perceptions meet reality. Let's dive right in. Welcome, everyone. This is Andrea Gordon. I'm your host for Realizations, and today I'm very happy and proud to have with me Melissa Bailey, who has a company called Fem Veer, which is obviously a female investment ploy as far as the name is concerned. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So let's talk a little bit about you and how you got into real estate and got to the place where you're at, where you have this female-oriented real estate company.
Well, I was in healthcare prior to coming to real estate, and it was just a little bit too demanding for me running a medical practice and multiple offices. And you think you're on in real estate all the time, but that's a different kind of on when you have to be available to employees and doctors and nurses constantly. So I made the transition into real estate. In 2018, I got licensed, didn't sell a house. And then in 2019, I sold one house and then just started sitting open houses until I got some momentum and met some people that wanted to buy with me.
Very, very cool. So, and you have parlayed this budding career into a whole team of people who are focused on investing. Can you tell us a little bit about your team and how that happened?
Yeah. So I have 2 agents on my team, and then I have a full-time transaction manager that does all of the paperwork and keeps us on track. And then I have an admin behind the scenes that does everything else, like social media posts, emails, database management, and everything that you don't see on a day-to-day basis when you're running a team.
Right. I have that too. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines who used to be a coder, and she's amazing with anything technological. And then I have 2 assistants and a transaction coordinator. So I totally see where you're coming from. Now, your focus, how did you develop this particular focus?
So I kept coming across women that were investors and not something that's largely talked about. About 90% of the investment space is male, right? So we don't see a lot of female.
Yeah, exactly.
Flippers or women investing in real estate. So I was really fortunate to have some really good guides. I came across one woman. She had created a portfolio all over the country, some in Canada and some in Mexico. They had probably 10 to 15 properties that they would purchase. They were long-term rentals, and her husband passed away during COVID. So I got to help liquidate that portfolio because it was time for her to take out her earnings, and she got with a financial advisor. They put all of the money that she earned from the properties into an account, and now she's retired and living off the fund. Of course, she's got another retirement, but that's part of it. So they had a 20-year plan. It was really long term. So it wasn't something that happened overnight, but she had substantial returns and was able to make that money continue to work for her after she liquidated the real estate.
That's very, very cool. Now, do you help people with that part of the process, getting them to good financial advisors, et cetera, or are you strictly in the real estate lane?
I have a couple of men that I work with that I can refer them to. One is absolutely amazing, and not only can she advise, she also owns a mortgage company. So she can do both sides of it and knows both of it. So if they need that, I can refer them. A lot of people like nowadays come in with a financial planner or financial advisor already. Like
Yeah.
my financial planner says the best time to buy real estate is 20 years ago.
Always. Yeah. Okay. And
It's a pretty,
finish your thought. I'm sorry.
it's always appreciating.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you are working with these people, do you yourself get involved in investing with them? How do you stay completely arm's length away from it, or do you get involved in the transactions too?
No, I'm arm's length. I'll advise on the transactions and then I have my own portfolio
Hmm.
that I do separately. So I can advise based on, my personal experience, my personal knowledge. Right now, one of the best techniques I think is taking their current home that's at a 2 or 3% interest rate and making that home a rental because it's got a really low payment and then maximizing some of that equity and buying the next family home. I really like the investment strategy where you're always buying a primary residence so you
Hmm.
can take advantage of better financing and loan terms and interest rates when it's your primary residence and move
Right.
forward that way. And then you can make the home that you were living in a rental. And so it's just kind of a rinse and repeat process.
Right.
Work really well if you do it that way.
My husband and I used to do that a lot, but we finally found a house that we totally love, and we've been in here since 2004. So you're in Arizona. What does an average house cost in Arizona?
Our median price range right now is 440, somewhere in the 440s.
Okay.
Can get the outlying areas. So, Buckeye is kind of East LA, right? Because it's
Yeah. Yeah.
right
Yeah. Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's on the far west side. And then if you go to their average home price is around 399 right now. If you
Right.
go to some of the smaller cities on the east side, the average pricing is around 330,000. So we've still got some really good affordability here in
Yeah.
Arizona
Yeah. Yeah.
if
You do.
you're willing to live in the outskirts and drive a little bit.
Okay. And how hot is it there today?
Oh gosh, let me check and I can tell you. It's been really nice. The app everyone allowed today. It's been cooler because we've had the monsoon the last week. So the monsoon cooled down and it was in the 90s last week, which is not overly
Not
hot
bad.
for us.
Not bad for you. Yeah. My marketing advisor lives in Arizona. And
Mhm.
he is constantly showing me his thermometer showing like 119 degrees and things like that. But he doesn't live near Scottsdale. I don't remember where it is he is, but now
Only 99.
they're only 99. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 80 degrees here yesterday, and I was like dying. So I'm not good in the heat. Question: when you are selling these houses to these investors, do they need work? Are they in good shape, or do you help with fix up or any of those kinds of things?
Just depends on what their bandwidth is. I
Mhm.
have a whole team. I have two different crews that can go in and do renovations and make it turnkey so it's rental ready. If they don't have the bandwidth and they don't want to go through renovations and getting it ready, then we can find something turnkey where they can just go ahead and list it the following week after that purchase has closed and
Right,
get it rental market.
got it. And how many multi-unit type properties are you selling, or are most of them single family homes?
Mostly single family, not a lot, just because our multifamily pricing is
Mhm.
just through the roof. I showed a multifamily a couple of months ago in Gilbert. It's one of the most popular cities to live in. And we have a thriving downtown area with restaurants and shops that's all walkable.
Mhm.
And it's a really great area where people like to spend time and hang out on the weekends. And it's good for families and
Mhm.
just has a very diverse area where people like to go spend time. And it was a 2-unit duplex that had just been completely gutted and renovated. And it was $765.
Wow. So essentially you're paying the same per unit as you would for a single family home. And what are the rents like there?
So it just depends on the city and how large the house is. Right now, you can probably get a 1,300 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath for 2,000 to 2,500, depending on the condition.
So the rents are good.
They're not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, in our area per square foot, that would be about what you would pay as well. Although there aren't a lot of 3 bedrooms that are 1,300 square feet. Usually that's going to be a 2-bedroom here. So that's interesting to me. And what volume of business does your office do, would you say?
My team and I are on track to do 60 transactions this year. So I think we have 56 closed or under contract currently. So just 4 more by the end of the year. And I have 6 listings currently. So if all my listings sell by the end of the year.
Yeah, you have the option to, 70 or 80 even, right?
Yeah, when you get to the end of the year and toward the holidays, I like to wind down a little bit. I don't know that I want to be putting in the work to do another 20 deals in the last quarter of the year.
And you have many children, is that right?
I do. I have 3, and my oldest son works with me as an agent. It's great.
Okay. And then the other 2? What did they?
One is an insurance adjuster, and the other one is a chef.
Wow. So they're all grown. You look like you're in your 30s. So I'm surprised that you're that old.
Yeah, it's great being an empty nester. And I think that I can bring that experience to people that are trading up or down or getting rid of that family home after the kids have all moved out. We did that and went too small. We went from 2,700 square foot house with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, down to like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that was 1,100 square feet. And I think
oh my Lord, that would have been
too small.
Yeah, every chance I get to tell people, they're always like, they'll walk into a house and they'll be like, "This is too much space for us," and I'll be like, "You will fill every inch of this. Do not worry." Yeah, I mean, it's just my husband and me, 2 cats, 2 dogs, and 2 parrots, and we're in a 2,400 square foot house, and it's bursting at the seams. So, what are your hobbies? What do you do when you're not doing real estate?
So we have lakes and rivers here, and I'm a big paddleboarder. So I like to go paddleboard and go out on the river. I've got a girlfriend. She's got the paddleboards. We load them up, we air them up, and it takes 2 or 3 hours. And we see all the sights, and it's great to paddleboard in the summer.
Wow, that's very, very cool. So that when you were in school, were you a sports person or were you a nerd?
A little of both. I was a good mix. So I was on the softball team, but then I was also on student council and AP classes and things like that.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And when you went to school, what did you major in?
So I have a degree in organizational leadership from Arizona State. And it's like a degree in leading teams. So that's
fantastic.
I can bring those skills to my team and hopefully be the right kind of leader that they need to be successful.
If you had to list for me the top 5 things that matter to you about leadership, what are they?
You have to be engaged with your people and care. Number 1, you have to know what's going on with them and be involved. For real estate especially, I'm a big proponent of, to teach it, you have to be doing it. I think a lot of real estate coaches can be people that necessarily haven't sold a lot of homes, but they want to tell you how to do it. And they've created this coaching program. So they don't have to go out and sell houses. So I think that's a trap that a lot of agents can fall into, and they need to make sure that their coach is someone that's actively selling real estate so that they can teach them how to do it and build that platform. I think that a leader always needs to be growing and learning. They need to be open and receptive to the needs of not only their team, but people outside their team and leadership and everyone that they serve. Your client is not the only person that you have to serve in a transaction. So it could be your relationship with the cross agent or the title company. Those things are really important. If you have a bad transaction or it's difficult, you don't want to make an offer on that next house and deal with that agent. So I think it's important for leaders to show what it's like, because real estate's a small world, even though we feel like it's big and out here. And you're going to encounter those same agents over and over again. And so leadership looks like getting through the deal and making sure everybody's happy, because you might encounter that agent again.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I think the fifth thing, the last thing that I think that leaders should be, is just to be malleable. Not every person and situation need the same type of interaction, and you have to take it as it comes. I can be really tough with some agents, and other agents need a softer touch. And a good leader understands that and knows how to adapt their leadership style to who they're representing in leadership.
Yeah, those are great answers. And do you yourself work with a coach?
I do. I work with Jen Dillard out of Washington. She's a top producing agent. She's stretching my limits and helping me grow. And they say that the growth is in the discomfort, right?
Yeah.
So she's really good at making me uncomfortable and seeing another way. Last week, on our coaching call, she challenged me to not use any filters anymore on social media. So that's going to be a big shift. I'm used to hitting that button and showing up a little bit more polished than I would like to. And so we're making that shift, and that's what we're working on next.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, my coach, I believe firmly in coaching. I think coaching is like the most important thing for real estate agents. I think that mostly because of the accountability factor of it. Sometimes if you're lucky, like me, my coach, Vonda Martin, she was a top producing agent for years and years before she became a coach, and she coached with Tom Ferry. And she's just a little go-getter. I mean, she's amazing. When I first met her, I thought she was like Charo or something. I mean, she was seriously, she's very, very physically fit, and she's this tiny woman, and I'm tall, and she's just like the Energizer Bunny or something like that. But she's brilliant. She speaks like several languages. She's from Brazil and came here with a shirt on her back and became a very wealthy woman through real estate on her own. Which I always find people that are immigrants who have made it in the United States very, very inspiring. Most of us, all of us who are not Native American, eventually came from immigrants at one point or another. And the hardships that those people went through to get to the point where they could protect their families, where they could, make sure that their families got educated, got clothing, had a wonderful shelter over them, what have you. It's hard to even contemplate because our lives are so much softer now in so many ways.
Yeah.
And she's a really amazing human being, but mostly she keeps me accountable. And she also doesn't let me moan about things for too long. Like we have like a 3-second rule. If I'm upset about something, I get to be that way for about 3 seconds, and then I have to move on to the next thing.
That's helpful.
It's really hard because of a lot of the time I'm like, but no, I want to keep on complaining about this. She's like, what good is it doing for you? And then if you think about it, when you are in that negative space, it wrecks everything. So she's right. You have to stay positive in this business and let it roll right off of you. There's this great book called The Four Agreements that I love because that I was introduced to by another friend that talks about not taking other people's stuff on and realizing it's not you. Making sure that you act in an impeccable way and making sure that you are true to your word, but also recognizing that when somebody's putting some crap on top of you, it's their crap. It's not yours. So
So hard. That's the hardest agreement for me to keep. I raised my kid with the 4 agreements. I love always do your best, be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, but not taking things personally. Sometimes it feels like an attack, even if you know it's the other person's stuff and you shouldn't
absolutely.
be paying attention. That's the most challenging agreement for me.
I think for everyone, because first off, we're pre-wired to think it's our fault in some way, shape, or form. Like they've done studies of little kids who are the children of divorce, what have you. And it's kind of crazy that most of them think it's their fault that their parents split up. Think about that through life with that in your head. So we're wired towards that. And also our bodies are wired towards negativity. To overcome negativity with positivity is actually a hard thing because, all that fight or flight stuff that we've got going to protect ourselves, it was very useful, when you lived out in the wood with bears coming after you or Tyrannosaurus Rex or whatever it was. But now the world is a little different than that. So I think particularly for women, I think that we also take on so much that is not genuinely our responsibility, and figuring out that it's not your responsibility and being able to move forward with what you can change and what you can do is really tough. I find it fascinating, Melissa, that you gravitated towards leadership as a choice in college. I find that to be that tells me so much about you and who you are as a person. I love it. It's wonderful.
Thank you. I actually had an amazing advisor. I was having trouble getting through statistics. I'm not a great math person. And class was just killing me. And I was working full time, so I couldn't get a tutor. And she said, I think this degree and course of study would be a much better fit for you. And she was right on, because now I could write a paper about what the statistics meant instead of coming up with them myself. And that's much more in alignment with who I am and how I study. So it was a really great fit. And it ended up serving me well because now I'm growing this team and I'm in leadership in real estate, and it's a really good fit.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful feeling when you realize what your life's work actually is, and you can take what you're doing and put it anywhere, but it's such a perfect fit with real estate. And I love the fact that you are empowering women to live their full financial lives, because so many women don't realize that they can be entrepreneurial with their money.
And we don't talk about it like men talk about it. Guys are out on the golf course giving each other stock tips and talking about what they're doing to make money. We need to be having these conversations more as women, and investing in real estate's only a small part of it, right? Because there's so much more you can do. All these people come at you all the time with crypto, right? They're like investing crypto. Well, I've got a little bit of crypto. I've got some good mutual funds going. I've got some aggressive growth stocks going. And then I have my real estate portfolio. So I feel like I'm well-rounded. Now, am I the best person to give advice on those other things? No, other than to say it's something I believe everyone should have.
Well, to your point, I think that there hasn't been that forum for women out in the world as far as money is concerned. I actually think that financial literacy should be taught in school to kids as early as the beginning of high school. And I don't think that anyone prepares children properly for what they're about to enter into. I think that's one problem. And I think that women in particular, remember, we only got the vote. We only got the ability to have our credit cards or mortgages in 1974.
Doesn't that just blow your mind? Like
it does.
That it was in the 1970s.
Yeah. And we got the vote in what was it, 1929, something like that. And,
Mhm.
I feel like we're playing a lot of catch up. I remember I won an award and I got invited to this fancy golf club to play golf with a bunch of other people that won awards. And it was all men and me and two other women. And the group that I got put with, they basically didn't have anything to say to me. I felt ostracized for the entire time that I was there because we had nothing in common. And also I couldn't play golf and they all could. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting thing for me. I think bringing up that whole golf metaphor is an interesting thing. Women need to learn how to play virtual golf with each other. We need to come up with a playing field that is leveled for women as far as all of this is concerned. And you're making a stab at it every single day with this work that you do. And I really appreciate it. So if somebody wanted to find you, where could they find you?
So they can go to my website. It's www.themelissabailey.com. And then all of my social media handles are the same if you want to find me. So Instagram, TikTok, it's at the Melissa Bailey. And then I have a YouTube channel where I give advice. It's called Living in Arizona. And all of those links are on my site.
That is absolutely wonderful. Well, it's lovely getting together with you again. I think you're the bomb, and I really
Oh, thank
appreciate you
you.
coming on my show. And I know that there were nuggets in here for everybody listening. So thank you so very, very much. And if you want to buy in Arizona, please contact Melissa. All righty, take good care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Realizations Podcast. I hope our conversation has shed light on the true essence of real estate and the people behind it. As we wrap up, I want to extend my gratitude to our listeners for their support and engagement. Your feedback drives the heart of this podcast, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Realizations Podcast and leaving a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and spread our message of positivity in the real estate industry. Until next time, remember to keep an open mind, embrace empathy, and always seek the good in every situation. I'm Andrea Gordon signing off from Realizations. See you next time.